My name is Dmitry. I live in Montenegro. I'm a student, and environmental sustainability is one of the things that really bother me. So that's what I've always been trying to address, and GAIA Fellowship is one of the ways I can do that. Um, as a GAIA fellow, I work on my film club network called New Take. It's a project that I came up with this summer, and we have opened 3 film clubs so far, and have many more clubs in preparation, as well as the online club that would go beyond my country, Montenegro, and will also cover other neighboring countries. As the film club network, we aim to allow students to learn about films and analyze films through academic perspectives. And by doing so, we attempt to learn about sustainability in a new way. So we utilize the theory of eco-criticism to think about the relationship between humans and their environment through the lens of from the theoretical perspective of film analysis. And we also will try to do the practical component of learning about sustainability by allowing students to create their own short documentary films about issues that affect their communities. So these 2 main ways, the theoretical part where we analyze films and learn about sustainability this way, and the practical part where students can become filmmakers themselves and attempt to promote social change by filming their problems, the environmental problems of their communities. These are kind of 2 ways that we try to address the climate issues as well as the sustainability issues in our local as well as the global levels. So when I was thinking about how I can contribute to the solution of the environmental challenges in the Balkans, I realized that the the thing I'm focused on is filmmaking and film theory. So I have to find some innovation in this field. And what I realized is that when you think about sustainability as a cultural issue, then you may have better chances of addressing that. So essentially, in order to realize how important it is to transition to a new kind of economic and social development, we have to first think about the cultural biases that prevent us from doing so. And one of the best ways to work with culture is film. So um, in a way, discussion of films that involve themes of sustainability is an effective way to address this cultural component that prevents us from embracing sustainability. Yeah, Montenegro is a small country, so we um, don't have a lot of industries that could pollute. However, we have a huge municipal waste issue, and several years ago, as a European, sorry, several years ago, as a young reporter for the environment, I had a chance to investigate and initiate a discussion about municipal waste problem in Montenegro. Unfortunately, it still exists, and there's a lot to do to address that. Um, However, besides municipal waste, we also have a larger problem of climate change. We as a country don't um, we are not among the greatest emitters. However, we also have work to do, and we experience the consequences of climate change in our daily lives. While the link between um, extreme weather and climate change is evident, we cannot state that every major extreme event is linked to extreme weather event is linked to climate change. However, there is great scientific evidence that climate change is exacerbating extreme weather, and it affects Montenegro directly. We have record-breaking wildfires. We also, in the northern part of the country, we have the issue with floods in the winter. So we have a chance to experience climate change ourselves, and um, we know how important it is to do something about the worsening of extreme weather because it also affects our communities directly. Yeah, when I started the New Take Film Club Network, the first thing I did is obviously contacted the schools and the institutions that we want to work with, because you can't make change unless you have stakeholders who are involved and dedicated to the project. So before actually beginning the development of the curriculum unit of the units of the curriculum that are related to environment, I first just wanted to build the network, and I started setting up clubs. In fact, I became the member of the first club we set up. It was a club at the Gymnasium Kotor, and um, working as a head of the New Take Club network, I realized that it's important to always listen to the ones you work with, because in the process of setting up this network, I realized that I have to be flexible and always think about the needs of the communities I work with and adapt my project to what suits them better. So, but the challenging part about that is to balance the interest of those who want to study film and film theory, and those who want to uh, go into environmentalism, because we are obviously on the intersection of both. So we first had to introduce film theory, and we have many units that are not directly tied to environment, because we want to have people who are just interested in the film involved in the project as well. And then we bridge this divide between those interested in filmmaking, in film theory, and environment by creating the units that are dedicated directly to the study of environment through film theory. But doing so requires a lot of investigation, because very few institutions ever work in the field of ever very few institutions ever work in the field of eco-criticism. So that's kind of a new territory that is still in development, and we have to navigate this. Um, we have to navigate this environment that is not mainstream in any way, and kind of we are one of the first ones to do that. Yeah, so we have multiple objectives. We hope to make it a multi-year project when we go, beyond the duration of a fellowship and keep developing for years. There are several objectives, because obviously that's a long-term, it's a long-term project. So besides achieving greater awareness about the issues of sustainability, we also want to equip young people with the tools to promote social change. And that's where the learning about documentary films and how you can make documentary films yourself would be really useful. We also plan to um, teach them to address the cultural factors. I mentioned eco-criticism previously, and I want to elaborate on that by saying that students would have a greater awareness of the cultural factors that prevent our communities from becoming more sustainable. And that's what I would say one of the unique and important contributions of the projects, to be more aware how your culture may be in conflict with the aims of sustainable development, and how you can address these internal biases that kind of don't allow you to make more sustainable choices. And besides that, obviously we are a film club network, so we teach people other film theorists as well, and we hope that we can help students become more discerning and more educated film goers, and also students who aspire to be filmmakers or film theorists. They also get the education they need in order to begin their paths. It would help them if they choose to attend a university where they study film, or if they choose to become filmmakers. Then our network would also kind of be the foundation in their journey. So we have, as I mentioned, we have three clubs opened. We also plan to open several more until the end of the year. And the major aspect that we're currently working on is setting up the online film club that would be targeted at people who live in other countries of the Balkan Peninsula. And that's how we attempt to make it an international project, and have people from Albania, Serbia, Kosovo, and other countries joining the club virtually as well. And besides besides developing the network, we're also developing the curriculum, obviously. So we've already done the units dedicated to formalism and contextual analysis. This is foundational to the understanding of the film theory. And then we are at the moment developing units dedicated to social impact documentary and to the study of eco-criticism, which are the ones directly related to the study of sustainability through the lens of eco-criticism and post-colonial theories. So I would say in February, we hope to also begin in-person workshops with Mark Terry, where we would create the environment where students would learn about making documentary short films and how they can actually achieve change with these short films. And beyond that, we would essentially focus the rest of the year on keeping developing that network and bringing this debate about sustainability through the lens of film theory. Oh, yeah, so my mentor is guiding me in terms of my development, um, I would say as a theorist as well, because I have to first approach documentary filmmaking from a theoretical standpoint, and I have to offer students frameworks to think about documentary film as a tool for social change. And that's where Mark Terry's, the conversation with Mark Terry and also his book about documentary social impact films guide my development of the curriculum related to documentary social film, documentary filmmaking that achieves social change. And the second part of our collaboration is the workshops. So we plan to begin this multi-month process of conducting workshops and supporting students in their endeavor to create social impact documentary filmmaking, create social impact documentary films. Uh, yeah, that's the second part where we first teach them how to do that, and then we guide them as they develop their films. And by May, we hope to have films ready and submitted to the United Nations database of youth films dedicated to environment. I think it's great to have a mentor like Mark Terry, because Mark Terry supports me in the theoretical aspect of that, as well as in the practical aspect of teaching students to become advocates of social change. So I would say the unique aspect about that is how Mark Theory can think about theoretical aspect as well as the practical aspect, and offer his expertise on how these two interact and how we can uh, develop our network, thinking about both the film theory and the filmmaking practices. Yeah, when it comes to good news, we have a lot coming, but I can share them as of now because we are still waiting for the approval of another major Balkan project. And if we do get this approval, then we can drastically expand the reach of the network. However, you can follow us on Instagram to learn about that and other news and developments. What I can share as a news is that we are on track to get our documentary filmmaking units and eco-criticism units developed and deployed in February and March. So essentially, we are slowly but steadily moving towards our objective of having our network fully focused on the study of eco-criticism and on the study of environmental sustainability.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mark Terry, and I am the Executive Director of the United Nations Youth Climate Report, a digital database of youth-produced films for the COP conferences each year. I'm also a professor at York University, Wilfrid Laurier University, and Toronto Metropolitan University, all in Canada. Well, it kind of ties in with what I do naturally. As a teacher of university students, I'd like to share the knowledge that I have in documentary filmmaking, my work with the United Nations, and my ongoing work with young people around the world, especially on environmental issues. And this mentorship program seemed to tie in very nicely with that. Well, Dmitry has a very interesting project of his own. He's going around to various universities and establishing film clubs. And these are clubs that not only educate its members about film theory and how films are made, but also that have activist intentions with documentary film, using it as an instrument of social change and communication. So I thought that was very interesting, and it has a lot to do with the work that I do. And so I thought the collaboration with Dmitry would be ideal. Well, the fact that it was about film, obviously, that had a lot to do with it, and the fact that he was very um, dedicated to the idea of starting not just one club, but many clubs at other schools and universities. I thought that was very ambitious, and it also showed that he had some kind of vision for the creation of such a club, and the fact that he recognized there was a need for such a club as well. And so I thought it would be very helpful if I could help him set that up, but also to provide workshops in the ways documentary films are being made these days by young people for presentation at the United Nations climate summits. I thought that would be something that was mutually beneficial for both of us. Well, one of the most common challenges in any kind of self-initiated project is funding. It's always very difficult to convince others that you have a great idea so that they will give you money to actualize those ideas. So I don't think I can be very helpful necessarily in providing those funds, but I can point him in the direction of organizations that do assist people like Dmitry in providing the funding necessary for their projects. And I think in this particular case, we're looking at certain NGOs that regularly support young people in attending the United Nations climate summits. They usually help them with accommodation and transportation costs. And if one of the members of his film clubs wants to make one of these documentary short films and have it presented at next year's COP conference in Dubai, then maybe one of these organizations can help him out. And I'm sure Dmitry has some ideas himself as well through sponsorships and perhaps through the universities that are hosting these clubs. Well, I think probably the greatest achievement he can hope for is that the members of the club, either individually or collectively, actually produce a film, because it's very, very difficult to make a film. It takes sometimes 12 months, a full year, from the original idea to the finished film. And so even on a small scale, like a 3-minute film the UN likes to see, it can be a project that takes an awful lot of effort from an awful lot of people. So I think while he's educating them and entertaining them in a social environment, which is the intention of the film club, if they can use that youthful energy and that collegiality within the club to work together to actually produce one of these films, I think the payoff would be having it presented at COP28 this December.